Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for our first ever X Spaces. I have no idea how this works, but we're gonna figure it out. And look at this, the new camera angle. Look at this, you can see me from such a, wide angle lens. Who would have thought the iPhone could accomplish this? Hopefully this whole X Spaces stuff is easy to set up. It was hard enough to find how to even post. What's up, Gusa? Yeah, this is the new stream room. This is it. We still got some boxes. We're gonna have like a couch back there, so eventually we'll be doing streams where I can sit next to someone in person. That's the goal about being in New York. So Bill Ackman will sit right there. I'll probably sit right next to him. I'll ask him all about Cuomo. All right, but we're gonna start the spaces in a few minutes. We got a lot of interesting topics for tonight. Obviously, the most pressing is going to be I say the NYC mayoral race. I mean, that's the biggest thing on prediction markets right now. And then obviously, there's the New Jersey governor race, which is a little bit of a bigger race than mayoral in the sense of like how close it is. But tonight, pretty pressing is Sunday Night Football, trying to size into announcer mention markets, which we'll be covering. Foster and Nate that are both coming on. Obviously, I've had Foster has come on the stream a lot. He posts himself, a good amount. But a little bit of background, like me and Foster, very close. We've worked together on a lot of plays kind of this whole past year. But he's a really incredible trader. He's like 370K P&L on the year, cleared 100K last year. Last month. So almost 400K on the year, 100K last month, his best month ever. But he specializes in mention markets. I think if you look overall for total profit by mentions category, he's like number one on Kalshi, but they have kind of redone some of the categorizations. It's kind of weird even looking at the category for number one on mention markets on Kalshi now because it's not retrospective. So they started doing it like I think a few weeks ago, but it's not capturing any of the old mention markets. So, but Nate coming on also. I talk to Nate a lot. We're in kind of a separate channel where we talk about plays. Yo, Foster, how do I join? This is Stream Not Space. Wait, Foster, I'm streaming the space. So I'm going to do a stream and a space. You guys are just going to join the space. Let me ping you on disc. Okay, I'm going to start the spaces in 2 minutes. Got super cooked with Gen G. Yeah. I got cooked on AL following on anyone's legend. But look, I only had like $400 on it. It was just so I could sweat. We'll be covering Worlds a little bit. So, Gusta, if you want to come on, talk about what you think of Worlds so far, you can feel free. I mean, we talked about it where, you can never count out T1 at Worlds. And what did we do? We did exactly that. We counted them out again this year. They were down to 13 cents. Foster was actually telling me he was going to buy 50K shares on futures for T1 when they were 13 cents, and he hesitated. But that would have been like a legendary trade, obviously. Obviously now with hindsight, but... All right. I'm going to start. Okay, use Available microphone. All right. Officially. Oh, the king is streaming. That's right, Grande. We also got a Spaces going, but I figured why not stream the Spaces? Grande, you got to hop in. You got to talk about some of your plays on this Spaces. Let me pull up a... Alright, I'm going to pull this up here. Alright, Foster's in here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spaces is live. Let me figure out how to make Foster a speaker. Foster, can you request to speak? Maybe you'll like pop up. Oh, here we go. Requested. Okay, Foster, you should be able to speak now.
Oh, there we go. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Grande,
Okay.
if you want to speak, you can always request. We're going to be... Oh, Nate. If you request to speak, Nate, I'll pull you up as a speaker. Oh, what happened? All right, I'm seeing it. All right. Koyos is in here too. All right, we got a lot to talk about. I'm excited for this. This is the first ever, Spaces we've ever done. And we got Grande in here as well. Amazing. So maybe before we dive in, Foster, do you want to give a little bit of an intro on yourself as it relates to prediction markets? Then Nate, you can do the same as well.
Okay, yeah. So I am Foster. I've been trading prediction markets since really the end of last year. Pretty new compared to people like Nate. But I trade primarily mention markets, and I've gotten extremely lucky. And I think I might still be rank one mention market trader. I don't know. There's some really sharp people printing money in that category now, and I've branched out to sports. But
Very interesting. I would say you're probably still number one, but I was talking about it on stream a few minutes ago, how they broke the leaderboard. So
yeah, it's tough to tell now. The leaderboards are all sorts of jacked up. But I don't know, man. You see what the freaking duck guesses fucking prints every day when he sends his results, man. Oh shit.
yeah, Probability Duck is on a generational run. I think most people on here probably know who that is. Maybe he'll even join, but he's an incredible mentions trader too. And I mean, he started with an initial deposit of I believe $100. He's now closing in on 200K profit in just this past year. So I think just a few months. Absolute sharp, and something I love about Probability Duck, because I talk about it a lot, where I feel like as bankrolls grow, it obviously gets difficult to size up more and more, even though you should, be doing that. And I think Duck is a good example where he will still size up on some big kind of conviction plays.
Yeah, man. I'm such a chicken. I'm such a chicken. You give me crap for it every day.
Look, it's just takes time. But Nate, we have you on the call as well. You were on the stream just past week. Do you maybe want to give a little bit of an intro on yourself as it relates to prediction markets?
I don't know if he's a speaker yet. He had to.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
okay. I
he's-
have to approve him again. Can you talk now?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I had some kind of weird glitching thing and it was like delayed or something. But yeah, we're good now, I think.
Do you want to give maybe just a little bit of an intro to your background? I mean, I talked about both Foster and Nate just in hyping this up a little bit, both kind of large P&Ls. I know we're all kind of focused heavily on mention markets lately, but we dabble in other areas. But maybe just give a little bit of a background of people who may not have been familiar with you.
Yeah. So I started trading middle of last year, June of last year. Mainly what I trade now basically is mostly mentioned markets, but I do a bit of politics, a bit of elections, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, similar story to Foster, I'd say probably. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're kind of underselling yourself a little bit, but you got an 80K plus P&L on Kalshi, mostly from mentions. Um, Anytime I feel like I make a lot on a mention, you always have me beat by a little bit, just like the Powell speech that we were both on stream for last time. But look, I'm excited to be doing this. The first ever spaces, so give us some grace if the spaces blows up or something like in a bad way. But we got an exciting week this week. I mean, we have the NYC mayoral race that's going to be decided probably Tuesday. I mean, I know everybody on here, Nate, Foster, yourself, like Grande's on here too, a big culture trader. I mean, I know none of us are big political people, but do you guys have some plays yet already on this mayoral race?
I've got nothing active besides like a while ago I picked up some Cuomo no shares. I'm just holding them until they mature. Other other than that, um no, but election night, I love trading election nights even if I'm not a political trader, man. There's always opportunity like live trading as results come in, margin of victory markets. Can be good.
Yeah, those are some of the best markets, honestly, is trading the margin of victory on election night.
Yeah,
I
there's.
got 8K on Mondani winning.
I love it. I have 5K on Mamdani. I'm curious, what did you get in at Grande on Mamdani?
Let me check. I got in on 87%.
I think a
90 to
lot of
Nice.
people
95 when
scooped
the
up
fair
and they
value's
picked on about
99. And I
86,
mean, just
87
think
there.
about that
Yeah.
conceptually.
It's set in stone, so why not make a free $1,000,
Yeah.
I got in at like a pretty similar price at 86 or 87 when there was that dip a few days ago. I think it was like the Atlas Intel poll or something came out. It might have spooked
Yeah.
people. Um,
Yep.
but I'm definitely holding a lot of those. I mean, I guess the way I view the race right now is I think Mamdani is going to overperform his polls, just like what happened in the Democratic primary. So I am definitely holding my Mamdani yes shares with Sliwa not dropping out. I don't really think there's a realistic possibility that Mamdani doesn't win this thing. Granted, I'm not a great political, like, you know what I mean? Like, me saying that my opinion should kind of be worthless to you guys in terms of interpreting this, because I'm not like a bottoms up political forecaster or something, but I am holding Mamdani yes shares. That's my bond for this. But I will say I am playing a few lottos. I'll say there's one big lotto that I like a lot after talking with someone who is very politically savvy. And that one is Curtis Sliwa to come second in the NYC mayoral race. Currently, that's priced at about 3 cents on Kalshi. I built up a small kind of lotto position on that. It may sound completely crazy to a lot of people, and I understand that, but I think there might be a little bit of value in that. I mean, obviously it's a lotto, so this thing is like almost for sure not going to hit. But if Mamdani significantly overperforms his polls, which I think there's a strong chance of that happening. Obviously, this is a mayoral race, so margin of error is going to be pretty high in terms of like looking at the polls. If he significantly overperforms, gets over 50% in the first round, I think there's a world where Sliwa and Cuomo could be really, really close. And I'm not necessarily saying that I'm going to hold my Sliwa second place shares until like the election is over, but when information's coming out live, I could definitely see Sliwa second place spiking to 20% plus and maybe exiting a position there. But I think that's a really fun play for this. And I mean, if you look at the polls as well, I think the Emerson poll a few days ago, which is the best in terms of like how it put Sliwa. So I'm kind of cherry picking here, but they showed Sliwa Cuomo within 5 points. So, you know, I think in a world where Mamdani overperforms, you could potentially see Sliwa cutting it close with Cuomo.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest YOLO, I don't feel like. I also, yeah, another thing, like, I've never understood the whole, like, people buying up Sliwa to drop out, like, this late into the race. It just doesn't make any sense. So I also have some no's on Sliwa dropping out. I don't understand, like, we're a few days away from, or a couple days away from the election day, and early voting already started a while ago. So I'm not sure why people think he's just going to drop out at the last second or something, or like within a week from election day. I've never understood that.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
even if he
that's
drops out,
definitely
he's still
safe.
on the ballot.
Right. Yeah. So
Does
sorry. Go
Kalshi still
ahead.
have that resolution rule where the dropout? Because I know previously there were some dropout markets that would only count, like, if they wouldn't count if they would remain on the ballot. Is that still a thing on Kalshi or no?
Yeah, I mean Curtis Sliwa is like definitely going to stay on the ballot. I mean early voting has started. But yeah, if he says on Monday, honestly, he's like, don't vote for me. I drop out. That would still count as like dropping out.
Yeah, they did edit the contract. It does say after June 25th, withdrawing counts even if they remain on the ballot. I think previously there was like some sort of like contradiction in there, and me and PMT actually had some issues with that. We were
that
trading
was Cuomo,
like
right? That was
yeah,
during
the Cuomo dropout
Democratic
after he lost.
primaries.
Yeah.
We should have held
Yeah.
those, I think. I remember. Like,
Dude, I know we had gotten so many no, he wouldn't drop out
yeah, so for context,
after he lost.
after the Democratic primary, when Mamdani won, odds of Cuomo dropping out spiked to like 90%. So me and Foster were basically talking, and like that night, because we were watching it come out, we shorted him. We took no's on him dropping out, but we should have held him longer. I mean, we still made some money.
Well, there was a lot of weird things in the rules that sketched us out, and I don't know. I mean, didn't know enough about the market. Now looking back, whatever.
Yeah, I was kind of sketched out by that too, and then they like clarified. I don't know, the next day or the day after that or something, and
Yeah.
it like really benefited the no side. I think, if I remember correctly.
I honestly, that feels like forever ago. That feels like it's been like years ago, and it's only June, man. This year is crazy.
Yeah.
Prediction markets move unreal.
I know. I remember back in January when we were like, I know Foster, we were both working in like a spreadsheet on like markets to watch.
Yeah.
And I remember this was like January 20th. This was right when Trump was getting inaugurated. And we were looking at stuff that would have happened in June. And I remember thinking at that time, I'm like, man, that's so far out. Like, what's it going to feel like? And now it's like November. I'm like, wow, it's almost been a year since we were like
and all those
taking it
end
super
of year
seriously.
markets I punched in. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, these are actually worth monitoring now. It's
Yeah.
insane. I have a question since Ben is here, and he's who I know is paying attention to a lot of these northeastern United States election markets. Ben, have you seen? I don't know when it got added, but it seems like a really cool market in terms of not trading just straight up margin of victory markets. There's a market for like which margins of victory will be bigger, and it's like New Jersey versus New York City, stuff like that. Have you looked into those at all?
Yes, I mean I'm playing all the margin markets for those like kind of like three main races: the New York City mayor's race, the Virginia governor's race, and the New Jersey governor's race. I feel the least confident on what the New York City mayor margin will be. I mean, I think it's like pretty clear who is going to win. But since that is like a local mayor race with a kind of like third party indie independent there, and like in those kind of more local regional races, the polling error typically tends to be higher. I mean, we saw that in the primary. So I'm I am definitely kind of putting more on the margin for the Virginia governor's race and the New Jersey governor's race, because like that's just where I feel like I have the most confidence there. I mean, like I just think it's like kind of up in the air, kind of like how much Mom Donnie outperforms the polls. I mean, I think he could probably win anywhere between like 12% and like up to like 25%. While like for those other races, I in my model, I have a tighter kind of like margin of vi- vi- victory thought.
Yeah, I mean, you did. So people haven't looked at Ben's stuff. Ben, you did a whole post on the top bonds going into these races. Let me bring Foster back in. But you did a whole video looking at the top bonds. I'm curious on, like, I think we talked, and your biggest position right now is New Jersey governor winner being Mike Sherrill or Mickey Sherrill. Sorry, that's how little I follow this race. But that's like your biggest position, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I think that's currently priced at around like 80 to 82, and like based on kind of like when I run the calculations, like I think fair value for that race should be like 94, 95, 96. So I think like while that race is probably a bit higher risk than like the New York City mayor's race, because like fair value for that race is probably like 98, 90, 99. Like just just from a like value play, like I think there's a difference in the fair value of like 12 to 13 cents. And what I actually think is like is the kind of like best value bond play is the democratic sweep. So that is like kind of like a parlay of those like biggest three races. But like what what it ultimately comes down to is like only that one New Jersey governor's race, actually, because like I just I just I just view those other two races as like 99 cent bonds. And like I can buy what I think is like fair value of like 94 cents at like 79 80 cents. So like that is definitely where like I'm putting most of my money.
So for those here that aren't aware, what Ben's bringing up, I have it on this stream, but it's the Democratic sweep this year market, and I think it includes the basically Mamdani has to win, and the Mickey Sherrill has to win the New Jersey governor race. And I think those are kind of the lowest probability too. And then they have a few others like the, what is it? The Virginia House of Delegates, the Virginia or New Jersey. So they have, sorry, Virginia governor, Virginia House of Delegates, which I think both right now are like 99, kind of priced close to there. I'm curious because you love this Democratic sweep market, but like when I look at this, my brain is saying, okay, I can buy yes shares on Democratic sweep at 82, and if we look at the New Jersey governor race, yes shares there are like priced 83, 84. So you're basically saying you get like a 1 to 2 cent premium for adding an additional I guess 3 legs. It looks like. So kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's, but I understand that it's like these are extremely probably very correlated, which I'm curious your thoughts on how correlated these different states will be in the results. Because if they're not like 100% correlated, or I guess if there's like one world where one of these 4 could go wrong, like okay, what do you think is the probability that Mamdani could lose, but Mickey Sherrill could win? That's what my question will be. I'll simplify it.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. Like, because in sports, I mean, like, if you're taking multiple games in the same parlay, like those are never really correlated. Like when people talk about correlated parlays in sports, it is like always with a same game parlay where like like quarterback over yards is like correlated with like one of the like wideouts over yards. But when you talk about politics, like for instance for the 2024 race, the 2 most likely outcomes were Trump to sweep all of the S7 swing states, or Kamala Harris to sweep all of the S7 swing states. So like if like I think it is a less than 1% likelihood that Mickey Sherrill wins, who's the Democrat, and then one of the like and Spanberger, who's the Democratic candidate for Virginia, or Mom Donnie loses. So like I could see it be like priced differently by like 1 cent, but like anything more than that, like I just don't think it makes sense. Cause like even though those are like different voting populations, they're all fairly close geographically speaking, and they're all happening at the same time too. Like it's like during the government shutdown, Trump is president. His approval rating has like fallen. Typically in these like off-cycle presidential year, Democrats tend to do better. So like I think if you look at the polling averages now, it is likely that like whether there's a Democrat or Republican over or under performance, that like those all go in the same way.
Yeah, I think under that logic, then the Democratic sweep makes sense because you're getting like 1 to 2 cents in, premium versus just buying the New Jersey governor market. But yeah, me personally, I'm just holding Mom Donnie bonds that I got at a good price, and then have those lottos on Curtis Sliwa I was talking about for second place. Anyone else have any other plays or positions that they're doing for the upcoming, NYC mayoral race, New Jersey governor race, and any of the Virginia races that they want to bring up? If not, we'll move to some of these other markets. Okay, so it's currently 5:20 p.m. EST. The biggest pressing market coming up at 8:20 is going to be the Sunday Night Football. Some of you are probably thinking that
Let's go.
Sunday Night Football. We've had a ton of
Let's go in chess.
Oh wow, okay, all right. We got some. I might have to ban someone really quick. They're an inch yes holder. But before diving into the announcer market, Foster, you're on the call. I did a stream yesterday going over Kalshi combos. I'm testing out my Kalshi combo quoter. You've had some success taking the other side of these new combo offerings for NFL. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been doing on that today and how it's looking so far?
I am currently trying to take count of my results. It's kind of difficult, but I think I've done okay. I think I've accrued like 15,000 shares of like no on a mix of like 150 different combos. So basically I've sold like 150 different combos. On average like 100 shares each. I try to like really go wide, and I've put out like a total of 11 or 12,000, and I think I've locked up a profit so far of really hard to tell, but I've basically secured back at least 10,000 of it. So worst case, my loss is gonna be like 2,000 today.
Yeah, worst case, but I mean best case, you're looking in the green right now, right, with some of these favorites that have lost.
Yeah, I'm definitely running above what I was estimating. Like when I was doing the math on my pricing, like the hold I was attempting to get, I got pretty lucky with Carolina winning and with the Vikings winning. That busted a lot of combinations. That was cool.
What's like your average quote price for these? Like, you're getting quotes, right? Or
Yep.
I guess RFQs, whatever you want to call them, but like you're quoting prices. What's like your average one for these parlays per share?
I will run that right now.
I feel like you avoid some of the longer shots, right, Foster? Like you intentionally don't do any like 95 plus or something.
Well, like Kalshi at the moment doesn't have sub-cent in it, and I feel like to get like really good prices, you've got to be sub-cent. So either getting market makers who are like willing to take like something that I would like. I'm like, man, I'd like to quote this at 98.5. There's some market maker out there who probably is like gonna be willing to take it at like 90, like quote 99, and sell it to the person for 1 cent. And like I don't know. I just the way that I operate, yeah, my max I'll sell it for, or I'll bid 98 cents for like a no. So I'll sell them yes for 2 cents, and then that's about it. Just because I don't know. I really should just be quoting the 99 cents for the people who want to make like a lottery ticket. It's probably plus EV, but my average price for my no shares is 73.68 cents. So
Oh wow! So people must be taking some relatively favored parlays then. I was expecting it to be like
a
crazy
majority
long
of them,
shot, 1 in a million, parlays.
Well,
People were.
I'm kind of refining my like model in terms of pricing correlation, because that's like a hugely difficult thing to figure out in combinations and in parlays and sports. Is like, like Ben said, like there's all these things that interact with each other in weird ways. Like passing yards over correlates with the team winning, correlates with who scores touchdowns. Like there's so many different things that I haven't really figured out, so I avoid a lot of the props, and I think that's where the lottery ticket people come in when they want to do a bunch of TD props and stuff like that. So I don't get too many of those quotes.
That's so hard to price those things.
Yeah.
I was watching TMT's stream the other day, and he's like looking at parlays he's quoting or combos he's quoting that are like 16 legs for 99 cents.
I only did quoting for like a couple hours this morning before kickoff, but yeah, PMT gets some crazy.
Dude, I posted that today. I posted that last night. I thought that was so funny. I was like drinking at Halloween, and then I looked because I had it running, and I just see I got filled for like a 13 leg parlay. So I posted it today. I was like, please God, don't let this hit.
Just it's like fleecing people. Like when they don't have decent pricing and you can quote for
Yeah.
99
Well,
for
I think
something
they
that's
do
like,
though. I think now Foster, because we were talking about it. I
oh, do they?
saw. All I know is I'm my script that I'm running does not offer decimal pricing currently, but that's me. But I
Hmm.
have seen people had the ability to offer decimal pricing, and I think I saw
Really?
I saw some posts about it from like the Kalshi team that I think it's like a thing now. But I can confirm other market makers were quoting like I did see some decimal price things. So I
Okay.
think they created it for these combos.
That'd be, I mean, that would be good because yeah, like even if you wanted to be fair and not just be like absolutely money printing with your quotes, like at the moment you just can't quote better than selling. I mean, at the moment I thought you couldn't quote better than like selling for 1 cent. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
when Subcent comes in, it's gonna be
I mean when they expand it too,
fun.
like even when you think
Yeah.
about the biggest thing outside, so combos to me, number one, you need decimal pricing because obviously retail users are going to want to have 1000x, and if they can't get 1000x, like it, that's the whole point of a combo or a parlay or whatever. But
Yeah.
the other utility to it, I think that they should add next is going to be futures. So like if you look at like college football national championship futures, if you look at Super Bowl futures, I think obviously there's a big trade-off to doing decimal pricing, right? Because it makes it more difficult for market makers and it kind of can cut into their edge. So like right now, if you look at sports, like the order books for Kalshi sports games are like incredibly deep, but it's because it's a 1 cent spread. So when they introduce decimal pricing, maybe that'll make it a little more difficult. But I think in the long run, at least offering it on like combos and maybe futures, and then maybe things that get priced to like 90 plus, it could be a good offering.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited where these are going to go. And I mean, I would love, people posted on Twitter for a long time memes of them like, look at this parlay I just hit. And it's, the most random political nonsense. But I would actually love to see when somebody parlays Trump saying Biden on 60 Minutes tonight, along with fucking the Los Angeles Rams winning their game like that. That's just going to be like so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like real because they had all those
Yeah.
fake ones before, and now you can like
Yeah,
literally do it.
exactly.
If there's ever
Yeah.
gonna be a world where you can like combo or parlay like a mention market, that is just gonna be legendary.
That
I mean-
will be
I mean-
insane. I'm very excited if that ever happens.
Yeah, like the
I mean,
content
I know
for that.
like it's gonna be so exciting, but like we also I get like really worried because you just gotta like snap back to reality and be like, who the hell is gonna be quoting that kind of thing? And then like especially when you get into like, pricing same game parlays is difficult for sports. Who's gonna be pricing the same speech parlays for Trump like that, those correlations and stuff like that? Like there's no systems out there for it. So it'll be cool, but I don't know if there's enough dedicated people willing to put in the effort to pricing that kind of thing.
But at
It
the
might
same
just be dead on
time, then
dead
if
on
you
arrival. I
are,
get worried.
like anytime, because I get what you're saying 100%, Foster, where like it's going to be harder liquidity wise for there to be good liquidity if you
Yeah.
expand outside of sports. But my counterpoint to that in terms of like if you're just a regular trader or whatnot, trying to find edges is like that's amazing for you, right? Because that means if you're the one person willing to dedicate it, there's not going to be a lot of competition on the quote prices. So it's like then you can be the sole person quoting mention combos if that's ever a thing, and then like you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I would like to give it a shot personally, but then no competition might also be worse for people. I mean, like remember when like combos first hit for sports? Like some of the games you get quoted a worse price when you combined it with another game than taking just one of them straight up. I mean, I don't know. I think it has the possibility to like get there, and if people are like, picky with what they're trying to combo, then it'll work for sure. I mean, like I'm so bullish on like the combos and prediction markets in general. I'm not trying to like shit on it, but
Yeah,
I think they can't just enable it right away.
I think making combos would be very tough to price because like I think with those like mention markets it is very common to have a like yes sweep like Trump's giving some speech and he's talking for like 90 minutes and he's rambling and he ends up saying like auto pin Biden like everything or like sometimes it is like pretty common for there to be to be a no sweep like on that like Taylor Swift like thing or like other ones which are maybe more like scripted or like end up only being like super short. So like pricing that I think would be just like so hard because like how how like do you know and like your uh your like counterparty might like know better. So like making a combo I just feel like would be so hard like kind of risky.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I mean, it'll be fun. But on the topic of Sunday Night Football, the most pressing market that we have happening in just under 3 hours is the announcer mention market. Foster, I think you were telling me before this call that you're trying to size up big on Inch Yes, and you're a huge Inch Yes buyer. So why don't you talk about
Okay.
that?
You're not.
Really?
No, not Inch. Yes, I'm sizing up on some other stuff. Last week or Thursday, right at kickoff, there was like 5,000 Inch no shares sitting, and I really wanted to smack them, and I didn't. And in hindsight, I would have won. That's just what I do. I always miss out. But no, I'm on Inch no. I'm on Inch no tonight until you tweet about it. Then I'll be on Inch yes.
I haven't gotten any fills. That's why I was trying to tell you to say Inch Yes, because I want to fill my limit orders. But
This is definitely you, right? 3,000 shares at 32 cents. That's
whoa,
100%.
whoa, whoa!
I'm looking at the order book
Don't
right
be
now.
calling out my
Man
Man
is
is
orders.
doxing
doxing the bids.
What is
Trust this
this?
order book.
This is some, I don't know, some sketchy activity here. Calling me out like that.
Dude, what just happened to the order book on Inch no?
See, this
Oh,
is
did
what
it just
happens
change?
anytime we talk about it. See, that's why I was trying
we're
to avoid
actively
it.
moving prices
I
right
know.
now. Someone bought it
That's
down
why I was trying to tell
52.
Foster to say he's on Inch
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
No, they
Inch
heard you were
always,
trying to
dude.
buy Inch no. They're inversing you.
I'm buying Inch yeses, bro. Not at this price, but I am buying Inch yeses at a price.
Wow.
See,
that is going to be fun though.
I
Like
can't.
having the like counterparties like on stream at the same time.
That's the
That's
issue,
peak content.
I can't talk about my positions until I've accumulated a position, because if I talk about it before, it's just like goodbye. Like I have no Inch Yes, Inch No shares, and I have a $3,000 or I have a 3,000 share order at 32 cents. I swear, weeks ago you could get this filled for every game, and
Yeah,
now I
mean,
can't.
That's your impact, dude. That's your impact.
The first two games I had, I think 5,000 Inch no shares at like 19 cents, and then like 3,000 Inch no shares at like 20 cents.
But did they hit? Like, wasn't Inch
No,
Inch yes?
Inch went yes the first 4 games in a row that we had these announcer markets, and I'm like, okay, I got, in my opinion, I got a good entry. I got the EV. I'll just keep farming it, and then the price went up, and I've not really been able to realize it. But
I'm curious, Grande, have you been playing any mention markets lately? Have you been expanding outside of culture?
I play mention markets every now and then. Like earlier when Trump first became president, Biden shares were like lower for him to like mention that, so I'd always throw money on that and get that. But I don't tend to play mention markets unless it is someone within the culture realm. Like if it was Ariana, I'd play that. I'm gonna get those up, so then we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I've played the Taylor Swift ones. I'm 100% accurate with that. So anything culture, I got.
Yeah, I dominated some of the Taylor Swift mentions as well.
You did.
I love those types of markets. The Taylor, because now like the other like, if it's not like a White House speech or something, it's I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. Like cable outside of like Taylor Swift or something, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, anything that's like culture entertainment wise, I pretty much know my stuff. I occasionally dabble in politics, but those are like the two things that like I do really on Kalshi.
Do you, do you think
Oh.
there's this market on Ariana Grande? I just like looked it up. It's Ariana Grande has a number one album uh again this year, and and there's like actually like decent orders on both sides. I think right now it's priced at like 34 cents. Do
Yep.
you have a view on that market?
I do have a view on that market. Here's what's going to happen with that market is she's releasing Wicked for Good, the soundtrack, and she's a lead on that, so that album counts. I do not think that Wicked for Good is going to debut number one on the Billboard 200, but I do think it's going to hit it on week two. So I think there's going to be a lot of liquidity in that market, and you're going to be able to buy better shares later on when she doesn't hit it first week, because it's a really stable album. I think she'll pull like 120K the second week based on the numbers that I'm crunching right now. The first Wicked soundtrack did 100K second week, and that should be enough for her to nab it.
That's literally all I needed to hear. When is Wicked album getting released? I need to put this on my calendar.
November 22nd, I think, if that's a Friday, or the 21st, whichever one's a Friday.
Okay, so that means after, I guess when will, so probably a week after that, the data will maybe start to come out. So that's like the 30th, and then that's when maybe I'll start to buy yes shares.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I obviously have a lot of shares in that because I got it early on, so that's why I'm talking about it.
All right,
Are
I
Sense.
like it.
Low key pumping your bags. I love it.
are there any other artists that are like having albums come out at at the same time that could risk not having that hit? Like, I mean, like, could there be like a Christmas album? Let's say like after Thanksgiving is when everyone starts listening to Christmas music and stuff.
Yeah, good talk or good notes. What I would say to that is week one of Wicked coming out. The reason why it's not going to hit is they're going to have a ton of pure sales. Um, so that's another market to look at is the album unit sales for Hits Daily Double. It's just a matter of Hits Daily Double actually predicting the amount of sales, which I tend to do better than them. Not to toot my own horn, but then I have to try to figure out
I
what
believe
they
it.
are going to project. But they're not going to hit it week one. Wicked might even be number three because you have this K-pop band. Don't remember their name, but they're dropping,
Demon
and
Hunters?
they'll no, not Demon Hunters, like an actual K-pop band. Not to throw disses at Huntrix or anything, but like a legitimately made band that's not fictional. It's I forget who it is, but they have never not debuted number one on the Billboard Hot 100.
Is it just like
So
BTS or something? Like, that's the only K-pop band I know. Is
no,
BTS?
it's not BTS. It's Stray Kids. That's who it is. That's the only K-pop band I know. That was funny. But BTS's comeback album is done, so that's something to look for probably around March. But yeah, I would say and then you also have the Beatles, who are releasing like a compilation type album. I don't think that it's going to be a stressor for Wicked to get number two, but it could be. So that's just a look at there. So the week after that, Stray Kids always fall greatly with their pure sales, so that won't be a problem. And then you also have the Beatles, and that'll be long and gone after week one. So then it's going to be most likely Taylor versus the Wicked soundtrack, who are both under Republic Records. So I do not think they'll have Taylor pull something that week. And I think Taylor's going to pull something next week when Kanye releases, and that'll be her big move for her album this year.
Wait, so this is Taylor Swift who like might drop a second album or something.
No, her albums are just so strong that it might just stay around stable around like
Uh,
120K by then. And then there's a whole Black Friday thing that you have to consider too if she drops anything there. But Wicked is also dropping exclusive stuff for that, so I think they'll offset.
All
wait,
right.
Grande, I have one follow up question. There's a second Ariana Grande market. This one is priced even lower, so could have even better value here. But this is the Ariana Grande to have a number one hit this year, and this is at 17 cents. And there's 2,000 shares sitting at 20 cents right now. So I'm like, should I pick these up? What's the play here?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Reason being is the highest peaking song from Wicked was Defying Gravity, which is the biggest song from Wicked. And that was number 42. And you're also going to have it compete with Christmas. So that's a no.
Just speaking of songs, I saw that Mariah Carey is starting to already chart
Yep.
um, for her Christmas song that comes out every year or whatever it's called. Yeah, so that's going to be number one probably in about 6 weeks, I reckon. I think we're going to be we're seeing that very soon.
Yeah, it'll be number one, I think, after um Wicked time, like after Thanksgiving. It'll start. It might be number two after Thanksgiving, but then one after that. And then we got the Brenda Lee and Mariah Carey showdown as normal.
Yep.
Interesting. A lot of happenings in the culture space. I need to expand my horizons a little bit into culture.
Oh,
Did
there's too
you
many options. There's too many options.
did you see the
Overwhelmed with
SNL episode
sports.
last night, PMT?
I watched a little bit of Loxy's stream for like 15 minutes. It seems like there was some confusion on whether or not it sounds like someone else said Mom Donnie and people thought it was the person, so I don't know.
So, like, just some context. There was a couple of strikes that like ran to like 90s pre-show, which everyone just assumes was like the dress rehearsal guys. Like you saw the dress rehearsal, you heard something, whatever it should they go from 40s to like 90s, right? And then so me and Loxy and Moonlight, I can't remember, never remember his Twitter name, but he's like Discord name's Moonlight. We're in a call together and we're watching the first segment. Loxy's got like $500 worth of like Mum Darby no shares at 50 cents. Um, the first segment comes up and he's like, "All right, Miles Teller's not very political. He's not a political guy. He's not going to talk about politics." First cold open is literally a mock of the debate, and he's Andrew Cuomo. Um, and he's like, "Ah, shit, I've lost all my money." But the whole skit was they couldn't say his name, and they didn't even get close. Like it was like not close. And so like we rewatched this like 4 times live, like while he was streaming. Rewatched the thing, rewatched the cold open, rewatched the monologue, and the shares just like kept sitting at like 5 cents to 10 cents no, and so we just all accumulated. Um, and well, the only concern was obviously that he could say it later in the piece, but yeah, it was like a crazy like return. But
So the
I
mispronunciations were so bad that they wouldn't even come
yeah,
close to
like
counting.
like Miles Teller said Norbert McDaniel is what he called him.
Yeah, there was like
Um,
that was like the whole bit. Yeah, it was like so bad. I did
yeah,
see
it
the
was like the
clips of that.
it was like the whole bit, right? And so like this is like for the next SNL, what we're thinking is maybe they saw the dress rehearsal right, but they couldn't hear the script because if you heard the script for that, you would know that Memdani's name was never said and Zoran's name was never said if you heard the script. So like moving forward in SNL, I'm still probably going to play the markets quite like lightly, but I don't think it's a conclusion that like if they jump pre-show that they're going to definitely say that thing because like if you knew the script for that you knew that it was never ever going to hit.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, that's a fun market, but I don't know. I haven't played any of the SNL markets this year. It's just like they're so late, and like I don't know. I like to be able to watch whatever I'm like trading on. So, and then it's also like pulling data for SNL. There's just like so much uncertainty, which probably means you can find, a lot of edges. I guess I'm just like lazy. I love my Caro speeches where it's like I have all this historical, and it's pretty easy to kind of think about like what the White House is going to bring up on a given day, and like Trump speeches, you can get a lot about the format. Um,
Are you playing the 60 minutes? Like in an hour or
I'm
two?
not, because like again, it's like if I want to play 60 minutes, I need to learn the 60 minutes format, and I need to do like so much research, and it's just like not very reproducible to me to where I'm just not even gonna bother. Like, but I bet you there's like a huge amount of, like I always say, like those types of markets where they're less frequent and they're like different formats. It's probably just extremely inefficient. So you can probably make a ton of money if you really study 60 minutes and everything. But I guess to me, it's like they, I don't know what liquidity looks like on that market. I mean, let me look right now.
87K right now.
So an interesting thing, right, is that 60 Minutes have been putting out clips of the interview already, and some of the strikes have already hit. I was able to accumulate some of these strikes at like between 90 and 95 cents, which have been said in the clips. The only thing that concerns me is like they may edit them, but after the big shit fight with Kamala when they edited her, and then Trump sued them for it, and they got sued. I don't think they're going to edit this. I think it's going to be legit. But yeah, some of the strikes have already hit in the clips. So
You're talking about him saying Trump already?
Trump and Biden.
Yeah,
I think
but
Trump and Biden are the two that have definitely been said in the clips. You can see it. It's on the 60 Minutes like X page. So yeah, like people are still like selling shares at like 90. Or I'd pick up like a couple at like 96, 95, 94. These sort of values.
Yeah, one thing that is interesting though with 60 minutes is like, I mean, Trump probably was like in that interview for like over 60 minutes, but like for the actual segment, it has to be like under 60 minutes. So like, I mean, they probably are gonna like have to edit out some things just to keep it within the time. But yeah, I mean, if they're putting out clips, I think it's pretty likely that based on what happened last time, I think they had to pay like millions of dollars because like one of the clips that they put out of Kamala was different than what they actually showed.
Yeah, I'd probably put fair value like 98, 99, and 98 or 99 cents. Like it's less than like a 2% chance they edit this. And especially the clips they've already put out. Like they're not going to like just cut out what he's already said. I don't think. I think they're just going to like leave it in. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. PMC, I actually had one question for you. In your new apartment, have you gotten a broom yet?
So believe it or not, we actually literally put a broom in our moving truck, so in our pod. So it basically came with the broom already because we actually brought it. I would have never brought the broom, but my fiance is wanted to like bring everything we could, which makes sense. But that also means we literally had a moving box that had like 75 pounds of weights in dumbbells. So we had the movers, and then we went to like hold this. But anyways,
No, that's no, sorry. But I was gonna ask you because I was thinking of bringing a broom as a gift, but also as a prop because my biggest mega lock on Tuesday is the Democratic sweep, and I think having a broom in the stream and just
all right.
goading all my counterparties when it hits and just
What do you
like
think fair value
throwing
is
the
of that? Like
broom.
95?
I think like 93, 94. Like honestly, like I think what is it like it so I like I mean just for full transparency, I have like about 8,000 shares or no $8,000, I guess, like yeah 12 or 13,000 shares at like 72. I thought that was completely mispriced when it's at 72, and I still think it's mispriced when it's at like what is it at like 81 or 82 now. I mean, I think that market, it's going to be clear that like that's going to be bonded to 99 cents, I think, like shortly the polls close. I mean, I don't think any of these races are going to be really close.
Isn't the margin though for like New Jersey isn't it only like 6 points?
Yeah, but like I mean, in these off-cycle non-presidential years, I mean, we've seen probably like 20 or 25 polls out of that in the past week. Even in the most kind of like right leaning bias polls, like with the Trafalgar Group or like Qantas Insights, like they like don't even have Jack winning. Like I just like if like there are zero polls that like have him winning, like or like have him even over like 46, 47. And just with all the other factors, I just I think Cheryl's going to win that race by like 7, 8 points, frankly.
That's
Yeah, just to
fair.
tail on that a little bit, I would just say like you got to kind of realize like the momentum is a big thing too. Like if you think about, let's say, I mean, I would say like these races largely ride off of who's in the White House and how well that party is doing. Excuse me, sorry, gotta grab some water here. Um, uh, and if you look at, let's say, Trump's poll numbers, and how, like, his approval rating, let's say, since he's been in the White House and up until now, um, it's just the trend is not um, boding really well. And you kind of see this a lot, back to what kind of Ben was alluding to, in presidential years, or yeah, like these mid-cycle um, presidential election, or not presidential election, these mid-cycle elections and midterms and stuff. So I would just say like that kind of bodes well for the Democrats in these elections. Um, and another thing I would just add is um, the like I always kind of look at elections through the lens of the economy. That's just kind of how I look at these, because I feel like that's like by far the most important thing that people vote off of, or that voters vote off of, at least, or at least I should say the voters that dictate the outcome, I should say. So maybe not all voters, but the independent voters, the voters in the middle, the voters that actually dictate the outcome. That's like by far the main, in my opinion, the main thing that they're voting off of. So I kind of always look at these elections through that kind of lens. And I would say since Trump's got in office, and even further back than that, and I think in large part the reason Trump even won in the first place was because of the trend of the economy nationally, and that's why he won by a fairly commanding amount. And I would say that's probably going to play into these races as well. Just the trend of the economy since he's been in office, I would say, has continually gotten worse as well. And I think that benefits the Democrats as well in these races.
Are you playing any of these, Nate?
Yeah, I am. I won't say I have like, crazy large positions. I'm sure other people have, larger positions here than I do, but I do have some positions on Downey winning, Mickey Sherrill winning. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have some YOLO. Well, I don't know. Is this YOLO? I don't know. I have some YOLOs, sort of YOLOs, uh, on Mom Donnie winning by at least 24%.
Interesting. I don't think you're crazy. What
Sorry.
is that priced at?
It's at 20%, I think. So it's not. I guess it's not like the craziest YOLO, or it's like not a total YOLO, but it's I'm not sure it'll hit, but I think it's undervalued. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I want to
But
play one of these margin things for Mom Donnie to make it even more fun.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll be totally wrong. Maybe it'll be a close race. I don't think so. That's not what I see, and I also think that um, again we saw in the primary, right, where the poll numbers like significantly under polled Mamdani voters or something along those lines. Like Mamdani outperformed the polls by a significant margin. So I'm kind of wondering if that's also what might happen
Well,
here.
isn't a lot of it like, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't like, maybe they're evolving their polling methods, but I think when I last dived into them, aren't a lot of them still like landlines or like, you know,
Hmm.
like mail, like just methods that are pretty terrible to capture any sort of young voter base?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. There's probably like a variety of factors that play a role, and also I feel like I don't know. I feel like Mamdani might be activating a less like I don't know a less politically engaged voter to vote for him. That would be less likely to enter these polls. That's just my theory. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But there has to be some sort of reason as to why he outperformed the polls so massively. Because, like, if you look at that, like, there was almost no polls that had him winning. There was the Emerson poll, like, right before the election day for the primary that had him winning in, like, the eighth round of um, uh, what's it called? Ranked choice voting. The eighth round of ranked choice voting. Um, So there was almost no polls that had him winning, and not only did he win, but he won by like a sizable amount, like a pretty
Yeah, and
substantial margin.
it's like you have to realize too, because the way I think about it and like why I think he's going to dramatically overperform polls as well, is like that was the Democratic primary race, which even back then, because Mamdani is someone who's so new into this landscape, in terms of being like a known political figure. So when you're Mamdani, it's like every extra day counts of like gaining notoriety and new followers in the sense that like obviously he's done a very online campaign through TikTok and socials. So now we're in a world where an extra 4 months have gone by or so since
Hmm.
the primary race. He's a much more well-known figure. Even if that means
Hmm.
you have Trump or big figures that are like talking about him now, which probably just going to help with name recognition. It's like, yeah, I just think and then on top of that, because right, he won in the final round of voting, he won the primary by like 13 points for Democratic primary. But now you have Sliwa running as a Republican, which is going to pull
Hmm.
away some of the votes. And, you have all these additional months of name recognition. I just think there's definitely a world where it is like a complete sweep, and that kind of ties in to my Sliwa position of him potentially coming in second.
Yeah, I don't think it's super crazy. You look at like if you look at these previous elections, these previous mayoral elections, um, where it's just the Democrat and the Republican, and there's no independents. Like you have the Democrat winning in some of these by like 30, almost 40% in some of these, like in recent elections, I should say, like since maybe the 2000s. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's not like of course, Cuomo is gonna pull some of potential Democrat votes, right, um, to him. So we wouldn't expect a margin any like near that much, but I feel like a pretty sizable margin um, isn't that crazy, and yeah, it enough could uh, potentially go to Sliwa that's not like the craziest YOLO in the world.
Yeah, one caveat on that, because I mean generally I I think that bo- both of y'all's thesis is like pretty sound, and like I do think that Mom Donnie probably will outperform his polls.
I disagree about it being
My
marginal.
my
I
favorite
think Mom
bracket right
Donnie's
now
gonna
is
win by a
buying him to get
huge
50 to
percent.
59% of the vote share. I think you can get that at like 47 or like 48 cents. But one caveat is while we saw this like 26% polling error in the primary, the overall electorate in the general election is going to be totally different, right? Because like in the Democratic primary, it was only Democrats that could turn out for that. Also, in the general, there isn't any um they aren't gonna have like multiple rounds like they like had in the primary with the like rank choice voting. Like you can only vote for one candidate too. So um I think that is like one reason why the margin in the polling error will probably be less than the um be less than the primary, because I mean Cuomo is polling votes from the Democrats, he's polling votes from the Independents, and he's polling votes from the
I mean, Henny, there was a 10% margin in the
Republicans, and
Democratic
I
primary.
think
Now you have 4 months of
the
Mamdani
overall
accruing more favorability, more name recognition.
electorate
You
is
have
like
Sliwa, who's going to pull
definitely
some votes
going
away
to skew
from
older, because like
Cuomo.
for
No
for
Sliwa
that
voters voting for
primary,
Mamdani, so it's only going to
it was
negatively impact
record
Cuomo.
breaking on like how
I think there's a big world
young
that,
it
he
was,
has a
but
big
like
win.
even like in the early voting data, we can see that this or the demographics of the general race is like going to be much older than it was for the Democratic primary, which is likely going to help Cuomo some.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I see, Logan, you just joined. I just invited you as a speaker. Do you have any opinions on this NYC race? I'm curious. Logan's been sweeping some of these international elections lately. I think, what was that, the Netherlands election or Switzerland election, Logan, that you were last on? Let me see.
Oh, also, Foster, I see now you have the Kalshi ecosystem badge. That's awesome, man.
Wait, me?
Yeah.
I've had it for a little bit on X. I
Oh,
never
actually, okay. So
yeah,
yeah.
I never posted about it too much.
Sorry, what was the question?
Logan, I was curious, do you have any opinions on this NYC race? Anything you're playing right now? I think most of the consensus is on, people think Mamdani's going to overperform polls pretty significantly.
Yeah, I don't have a ton that I'm looking at for the U.S. elections. I've been looking at the Virginia Attorney General race a bit, but still need to research that one a little bit more. But most of the U.S. elections seem, at least in terms of who's going to win, relatively straightforward from what I've seen. Than
Yeah.
the Attorney General one being
That
the
one's
only
interesting. That wasn't even
interesting
on my
one.
radar, and that's like a 50-50.
Yeah, because there's a scandal, I guess, with the Democrats. So you have the governor, who's a Democrat, projected to win by 10 points or so, and then a toss-up or expected loss by a little bit for the Democrat Attorney General.
Logan, what is your point of view on that race? I think I'm holding. Yeah, I'm holding 2,500 J Jones shares at 35 cents, but I don't know if I should sell or hold going into Tuesday. I mean I personally think he's probably like slightly favored, but I I like really think it's a toss up.
Yeah, that's sort of my thoughts as well, but I still need to research a bit more because I'm not sure how common it is for people there to like split their ticket, and to the degree that would be needed between the governor, um, and then the attorney general for him to win or lose. So I still need to research more, but I have a little bit of a small bet on him
What do
right
you?
now.
What's your view on the margin for the top of the ticket for the governor?
It seems like right now it's looking like at least 10 for most of the polls I've been seeing, but I also need to firm up my view on the top of the ticket margin so that I can then see how that impacts him.
Yeah, I'm currently looking at a 13-point margin, and then I think there's going to be like a split ticket voting for of about 11 points, which is huge. I mean that like almost
Yeah,
never happens, but I think this is like one case where it's actually going to happen. Like the only other kind of like very high profile case that I can think of is in North Carolina for the like presidential and governor's race last year when Trump won that state by 4 points, and I think like Mark Robinson lost by like 15 points. So I don't think it's going to be quite that big because I think that scandal was like much worse. And like even yesterday, like you saw President O O Obama like on the same stage as like J Jones. So like
yeah,
from like what it seems like the Democrats are still kind of like rallying behind him, um, despite like that like pretty like bad like honestly insane scandal.
yeah,
So, okay, like we've talked about a lot of bonds in this race. I like, Nate, your play on the big margin for Mamdani. I'm gonna probably load up personally on like a few shares there just for fun. I want to be rooting for something. I can't just be rooting for Sliwa to surprise. Does anyone have any big lottos, like long shots they're playing? It could be any of the margins or in any of these upcoming races, like rather than just these. Who likes Mamdani bonds? I mean, those are fun. It's a great return, but we want some long shots. Wow. Everyone here is just a little bonder.
that's my main issue with these U.S. elections is there's not really any good lottos. It's mostly just feels like bonds.
Exactly. Um,
Yeah, I mean all the lottos are like probably going to come in the margin. I mean, I like Cheryl between like 6 and 8, and then for Spanberger like I like the 12 to 14 margin, and then for mom mom Donnie. I mean, this isn't like a lotto, but like I was saying the between 50 and 60. And I mean there's like other markets like Cuomo vote share, like those are kind of all priced under 50 cents. Sliwa too. So if you like want like different ways to kind of play lottos, there's like tons of different markets.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll play Mickey Sherrill. I mean, I don't know. It feels weird to hold separate shares of Mamdani and Cheryl for governor because then it's like, why didn't I just play the sweep market? But, I'm probably not going to sell my Mamdani shares. So maybe I'll accumulate like 5,000 shares of Cheryl if I can get in at like 82, 83. Maybe it's worth it. But I don't know. That race just seems like, to me, Mamdani compared to that race is like night and day. And granted, the odds are different, but you know what I mean. Like taking Cheryl at like 83 just seems so weird when I think about like Mamdani at like 92 right now. But
I mean, are you saying you're more likely to take Mamdani or Cheryl?
well, I'm just saying like right now. Maybe this is like not naive, but I just don't see a world where Mamdani loses. But Cheryl, it's like, yeah, got a good poll lead. No Republican pollsters have shown her even losing, but like if I can park all my money on Mamdani, that's why I'm like is it worth it to do to even take any risk taking Cheryl? But
Yeah, fair.
all
Just
right.
to
Well,
kind of loop back real quick, wanted to ask about, well, one of my buddies wanted me to ask about, I guess, Iceman, Drake's potential album, I guess. So mainly for Grande, I guess here. Any thoughts on that? And could that like shake up the charts at all?
it looks like Grande had to drop,
Oh,
but
they left. Damn. Oh
we
man.
missed
Okay,
the Iceman.
missed my
But
opportunity.
Grande will be
I'm a
back.
huge
Well,
Drake
anybody else?
fan.
Okay, I'll throw it out to anybody else here then.
Koyos, take this one.
Was good. You asked about Iceman and like, will it shake it up?
Yeah, the charts or anything, any thoughts there, like how that could affect the charts,
Um,
Billboard, etc.
I think there's a lot of hype towards Drake's new album, Iceman. I think there was like a couple leaks that happened. It's kind of weird because it came from the crypto world. Um, so I think he's still in the process of maybe redoing those songs potentially or anything. But I don't know. I think his last few albums have been charting a little bit down, but he's still got a lot of hype. But I don't know if it's gonna really shake it up as much. But
Gotcha.
that's what my 2 cents.
When do you even think it's gonna get released? Because like
I
it's a
don't
pretty
know.
low
Yeah, that's
likelihood
what I was gonna
before
ask.
even
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. It was a bit of hype for a bit, and then he kind of slowed down. I think in terms of stuff and teasers and stuff like that. So honestly, might not wait till next year, but we'll see.
Hmm. Yeah, because I was kind of hearing rumors or
Yeah, when
something
did you hear he
along.
was gonna drop?
Yeah, that he might drop soon, or potentially. Well, at least I've been hearing him for weeks here that he was going to drop. He was going to drop. Hasn't dropped yet, so I don't
Yeah,
know. Do you
until next year.
like could that happen within the next few weeks or so, or is that something that you think isn't getting released anytime soon?
I've heard sometime in like fourth quarter, so anytime from like November to December. But if you could potentially see him pushing it longer, so I don't know.
Gotcha. That makes sense. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to ask that and get that out there. Back to you, PMT. Whatever
Well,
were you gonna bring it
last
to?
question I'll say, because this space is dragging on, is does anyone have like special plans for how they're playing Tuesday night, like election night, as all the results start coming out? Is anyone like? I feel like Logan, I would expect, is gonna be, because I be ready during all the live results coming out. But like, do you guys have any plans on like how you're gonna follow all the news releases and like any potential things you're thinking about of like if X happens, do Y.
Yeah, I will say one thing. I mean, like when you're like there's lots of stuff that you can look at. I mean, like Twitter's going crazy. Like most of the news stations like aren't going to be up up to date. Trying to like go county county by like county and like like knowing kind of like which votes are like coming in versus not. That can be very hard and challenging. But what I typically look at is like obviously like what the market is doing, but like also the New York Times has a pretty good needle that tends to be pretty accurate, which like most people look at for the margin markets. Um, and that will probably map pretty closely with like what the prices is what the prices are for the margin markets, though what has happened in the past is that needle will glitch, and if you know that it is glitching, typically the market prices will follow what the needle is saying. But like if you know that it's wrong or like it's like out of whack, then like you can fade that. That is like kind of hard to do, and it's like kind of risky, and you like really have to have to kind of know what you are doing. I think this year also like some of the other news orgs like have like needles too. Like I think for the 2024 race, the Washington Post had one, but you like had to pay for it. So yeah, that is my overall strategy. And then also just like kind of like one small piece of alpha too. I think once we or like once we see like what the margins are and like who's like winning and like kind of like how bad the de- Democrats win, like whether they kind of under or over perform their polls. I think that the House and Senate races for the 2026 cycle will likely change because like if you think those like markets now are like pretty
Yeah, that's an
accurate
interesting
based on
idea. You're
polls,
saying the midterms and watching those markets based on these races?
right? So like kind of similar to like how
That's a
like
good idea. Yeah, wow.
yeah like similar to sports like when you like buy the like
Right, the
future
futures.
like
Yeah.
someone to like be a champ like for the North Carolina Senate race, that race and like that like the demographics of North Carolina are like very similar to its neighboring state on the north for their governor's race. So like if you see like Spanberger like win by like 14 or like 15, I think that the like Roy Cooper, who's the Democratic candidate there, I think his odds will like probably spike, and like vice versa too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good thing to watch. I didn't even think about that. I bet you that's going to be probably the best place for Edge. Is like if Democrats or Republicans overperform, you know, playing the midterms is going to be a really good angle. Um, but we'll see. My hope, my prediction, if I had to make one, is Mamdani is going to win by significantly outperforming his polls. I think he wins greater than 50% vote share in the first round. And I think potentially Sliwa pulls it somewhat closer to Cuomo. But I say that I don't have any shares of 50% plus, so probably not high conviction. But right now I only have Mamdani and Sliwa in second. But I'm gonna play some of the margin, positions just for fun. I don't think I have any edge when it comes to like this type of political stuff. But I need some skin in the game to make it fun.
So you get better too. I think it's good practice to take small positions so you know that you actually backed them. Because if you don't have a position in anything, you're like, oh, I knew it. That's how it always goes, you know.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever take positions in like the global or international election markets at all? Because I feel like every time I do, I get absolutely rinsed.
I know Logan does, and Logan
Those
he's been
are those
eating.
are more fun, I feel like, than the US ones.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, they're harder. Like I bought a Norwegian, or not a Norwegian, a Dutch streaming service, and I've been watching news in
Mm.
Dutch for a bit, to follow their election. But a lot of those European elections, they have a lot more parties, a lot more undecided voters, and last
Mm.
minute deciding voters. And so instead of it being like 3% undecided and then everyone just sticks to their party, there's sometimes some actual, movement
Gotcha.
in who
Yeah.
people are supporting, which is at least more interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I feel like it's a lot harder, but it's also probably easier to find edges in certain ways. Because, like, there's a lot less information I feel like that's available but if you can find like the information that's kind of important,
Yeah,
you
it's
can definitely get some significant edges there.
yeah, it's somewhat harder tracking the like live voting results as they're coming in
Yeah,
like foreign
exactly.
languages that you don't speak, and so it feels like you're a little behind. But
Yeah,
otherwise, yeah, I find it interesting.
yeah, and myself included, admittedly, but I saw like the Romania election earlier this year, I think it was. All the whales got, well, I shouldn't say all the whales. Most of the whales got rinsed on it, including myself. Um, so I like it's. I don't know. It's hard to price these. I feel like a lot of the time.
Yeah,
But hey, if you can do that, more power to you.
I'm sure at some point I'll get rinsed like what happened in Romania. I avoided that one,
Yeah,
thankfully, but
uh,
I'm definitely gonna have something similar happen eventually.
yeah. That's why I like for these, U.S. elections. It's kind of what I like to stick to these days. But yeah. Anyway, so
Well, I think the two big plays that we heard tonight that could be interesting. Number one, Wicked album released by Ariana Grande, potentially buying that she will have a number one album on Billboard this year, and maybe targeting buying those shares in the second week of her album release because she's probably not going to hit it in week one. And then the second fun one is Mom Donnie by 20% plus, or 24% plus rather.
oh man, that's a lot of pressure.
So
Hopefully it hits.
yeah, if you guys don't hit on those, you can go to Nate, his ex account, and DM him for
Oh
refunds.
man.
He
Oh
should
man.
process the refunds within a couple days, is his policy.
Oh man. I don't know about that, guys.
And then,
Uh,
what about Democratic Sweep? My Mega Lock Max
Look,
high prediction trade.
these bonds though, who wants an I made posts about bonds
yeah,
being the
lottery
best
tickets.
part. Everybody wants lottos. Nobody
Yeah,
wants.
Okay,
I'm a lotto kind of guy.
you're getting a 30 to 35% return in one night. You
Well,
can you
now
can
it's
put
You could be getting a
20%.
300% return in one night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could have 1,000x or 100x.
They call Logan and Foster
Okay.
the 1 cent masters. They've made more money on 1 cent shares than anyone else in the game.
I have made obscene amount on 1 cent shares. I think over half my PNL is 1 cent shares. Oh, you got me wanting to go check
That
it.
is
Wow.
1 cent in a dream. It's all it takes, guys. Everyone listening now, $1 bill.
Yeah,
That's
when you see
100
those 1 cent
chances.
shares and the market looks decided, don't let them fool you.
Yeah, like
Don't
if
let
you
them
hear
fool you.
them call the race for Mamdani and he goes to 99, think about the 1 cent.
whoa.
That's a joke, not
This
financial
is
advice.
not financial advice.
I don't know if that's ever actually happened, like for a politics play. Like I just like don't. I mean, one thing that like was crazy is like on some betting sites for the 2020 election, Trump to win. Like once the Florida results came in, his line was like minus 800 at like one point, which I think is what like
I remember
85,
that. I watched it
88.
too.
That was crazy.
I was looking at like Bovada at the time, which is like an offshore book, because I didn't know prediction markets. I don't even think they existed at the time, but I remember.
Yeah, Kalshi and Polymarket weren't doing the race. It was only predicted that it had 850 limits per market, which is nuts.
I think the last play I forgot to mention is Foster. For anyone joining now, he gave like a 10-minute rant on why he thinks Inch Yes is a lock tonight and to go.
Oh
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We're on Inch No.
Listen,
but I have zero fills because it's been pumped up to
I've got
oblivion.
Yeah, market bought it up to like 60 cents for Inch No, so now I'm filled. I got fills.
Someone actually market bought Inch No to like 70 cents today. I got a notification because I have it on a watch list and it was like it was like inch no last purchased at 68 cents. I was like, guys, who is doing
Man.
this? That is not fair
I-
value.
I really wanted to get some other shares, and they're not available anymore. Man, I
Well-
gotta stop being a little fraidy cat and just start smacking these limit orders that are sitting in the book.
I
Who
didn't
cares
get your
about
message on
fees?
that one you sent me. I would have split that with you.
Yeah.
Well,
Next time.
E and Event Trader is in the spaces. E tries to never talk, but E, do you want to be pulled up as a speaker? Do you want to talk about weather markets? Here, I'm gonna request E as a speaker. How do I do that?
Wait, and so for this Marshawn Lynch strike, I was just looking at. Isn't he only on like the Thursday Night Football Prime ones? Like, doesn't he work for Amazon Prime? Oh, it's the Seahawks, I guess. Okay, I still think they probably don't say it. Interesting.
All right. Well, anything
Make
else
sure you're looking at the right game.
you guys want to leave with the viewers before we call it? Any last plays?
That's good for me. I don't have anything on my own.
And next time we do a stream, we got to talk about the top search Google markets for the year. That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Once
political
NYC's
stuff,
over.
culture stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Big thank you to all the speakers that joined: Foster, Nate, Ben, Koyos. Don't forget Grande Top 10 who was in here. Logan, who now left, who was in here. A lot of sharp traders in here, guys. I hope you enjoyed the first spaces. But take care.
Yeah, that's good. By the way, DMs are closed, guys. Don't DM me for refunds.
It's 1 to 3
Nobody's
processing
getting
day time on Nate's refunds, guys.
Yeah, no, this was good.
That was funny. All right. Nate's not actually going to give you guys refunds. So don't DM Nate. Just like I won't give refunds on my inch shares. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This was a lot of fun. Let's have another solid week of gains. I need to start getting into some of these race margin shares.